What's going on, guys? This is the Gators final report. I am your host, Dylan Denmark, and what was, good Lord, the game that took forever. It was pretty much a recap. If you remember the game on Thanksgiving, the Cowboys Raiders game, I had 20 plus penalties. This Florida State game had that. My goodness, but Florida comes out with a victory 24-21. FSU has an opportunity to kick the onside kick and completely whiffs, and then that was the game. We're going to get a lot into what happened in the game today. And then obviously Dan Malone gets fired last Sunday. Napier looks like he's going to be the favorite to get the job. I guess that would be announced tomorrow or Monday. Shouldn't be announced any later than Monday. And but yeah, Florida goes bowling. In a game that both teams were fighting to looking for a shot to go bowling between Florida and Florida State with 5-6 records. As I can see you guys' comments rolling in. Always remember to give a thumbs up and subscribe to at the Voice of College Football's Mark Rogers YouTube channel. This is the Gator channel and the SEC channel, and we have postgame for FSU's channel. We have SEC channel content all day. Georgia, they have a postgame show after they beat Georgia Tech, Ohio State, many more. Just go to at the Voice of College Football, click featured, and you will be able to see all of that content. Okay, let's start here. I had zero idea what to expect from this game. The line opened up at Florida -10. This was Sunday. I thought there was no way Florida was going to win by 10. Considering Dan Malone had just got fired, he was pretty much their only play caller on offense. And it seemed like Emory Jones was going to change, and it didn't until he got pulled. And it looked like Anthony Richardson was going to play much, just like he had in the last couple of weeks. So I was going off that premise. And Florida State was playing pretty good football. They're playing pretty good defense the last couple of weeks. They beat Boston College last week 26-23, and they came back to beat Miami. So I was expecting Florida State to win, and then Monday comes, and apparently Emory Jones has an ankle injury. Now, what's funny about this is that the University of Florida never put out anything. Nobody on the staff put out anything. It was all rumors from third-party people from the media. And then you see right before the game that he goes out, he trots to the field. 3 interceptions later, he's not playing well. Pretty much the same issues he's had dating all the way back to early September when he couldn't make a read, or he thought about it too long and there's a guy open, and then he throws it right to a guy in the zone, or the guy's playing catch up, throws it right to him from the Florida Atlantic game. Those same issues happened today, and so that's another thing to talk about going forward, what will happen between Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson. But finally, in the second half, Florida gave the ball to Dameon Pierce a lot more. Anthony Richardson got the ball. He took over play calls under center, and Florida finally started rolling in a game that looked like a lot in the air when it was still 7-7, which felt like 5 hours ago, when the second half took more than 2 hours to finish, which is absolutely ridiculous. Florida comes out with a victory. Obviously, I see you guys' comments rolling in. No Dan Mullen, no Todd Grantham, no John Hevesy. And I'm sure the rest of the staff will probably be let go sometime in the near future with Napier from Louisiana coming in. He should be announced probably tomorrow or Monday. But yeah, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. As we'll start here. Roland X says, no head coach, no defensive head coach, and O-line coach, and a defense doesn't know how to simply line up on side. How do the Gators win? Yeah, that's a great question. Both teams played equally good and bad at times. As I'm trying to pull up the box score, Florida did have 3 turnovers, but give Florida's defense a lot of credit. Yes, they had a lot of offsides penalties, but but they played really well. I'm trying to pull up how many yards they gave up total. Um, Let me see here. So Florida State had 348 total yards, 200 passing, 145 rushing. Both teams pretty much had right at 100 yards on penalties, and both teams had 3 turnovers. Florida, they did have the ball for 5 more minutes, but Florida converted a lot more third downs. Florida went 11 for 19 on third down. FSU went 5 for 12. Um, so it's an interesting question because I mean it was both plays were sloppy, especially for Florida in the first half. I mean Florida State had multiple. I mean, geez, I'm looking at it now. The last 3 drives for Florida in the first half were interception, 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 and obviously the last one was for Florida to go up into the half 14-7, and then Florida has a short field. They kick the field goal to go up 10-7. Florida goes 3 and out. But then remember what turned the game was special teams, and that muff punt turns to a touchdown, and Florida goes up 17-7. Then Florida gets another touchdown after an FSU interception, makes it 24-7. I think that was when Damian Pierce went in after his helmet went off. That sparked the crowd. So I guess Florida being at home, I think Florida heard a lot of negative press all week, and I'm sure that played into it. But Florida comes out. They finished 6-6. Something I was thinking about earlier. Florida only had, even though they're 6-6, only one home loss. That home loss was to Alabama way back in week 3. Every other loss was away from home. The Georgia game, at Missouri, at LSU, at Kentucky. So at South Carolina was the other one. So Florida did its job at home. Just disappointing, especially from what Florida was expected to do beginning of the year. Especially also on top of the season they had as they finished last year. Colton Reed asked the question, I don't understand how we can move forward with Emory Jones as a starter from this team in any capacity. It's embarrassing at this point. Yeah, so I said this the middle of the season. I said this right after the Tennessee-Kentucky game. Only one of these guys is going to stay. It's either going to be Emory Jones or Anthony Richardson. Both of these guys will not be on the roster for Florida next year. With the transfer portal, both guys, they won't stay next year. And obviously for Florida, the answer has to be Anthony Richardson. So Napier, if he gets the job, he's expected to. Napier has to sit down with both Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson and, say, look, here's the deal. He can say, I haven't seen either one of you guys. You have open competition in spring. And then, base the decision off that and then go roll with the starter. And then he can sit down with will probably be Emory Jones and say, look, we're going to roll with Anthony Richardson. And, it's up to you what you want to do. If you want to stay, cool. If not, understand. I think that's one of the first things Napier has to do when it comes to Florida, if he gets the job, is sit down with both quarterbacks because, like you said, Colton, there's no way Emory Jones. I don't see, like you said, in any capacity how he can be the quarterback. He had multiple mistakes to start the year. That's fine, but the same mistakes continued week after week after week, and I think a lot of it too is just him overthinking. Football is a game, especially at the quarterback position, where you can't think. Football is read here, read there, make a play, make a reaction to what's been given to you, and it's just one of those things. And then also too, it didn't seem like he could handle the pressure when the Boo Birds ever came out, and that just comes with being the quarterback at the University of Florida. Not saying that's right or wrong, but when you're a quarterback at the University of Florida and you get a high praise when you're winning, well then you're going to get a lot of the Boo Birds and a lot of criticism when things aren't going right. Anthony drops the question or comment. At least team played with some pride today. Defense towards the end was sketchy, but we did what we had to do on all three phases of the ball. Yeah, the defense played really well. The stat sheet doesn't really show, but Florida got turnovers when they needed to. They capitalized on what was a turning point in the game on the muff punt in the second half, and the first half was a long time ago, but it was only 7-7, and Emory Jones was driving before he throws the interception, and it looked like it was going to be a nail biter all the way through. And then that muff punt happens. Before that, Florida gets a field goal, so the muff punt, Florida gets a touchdown, makes it 17-7, and then Dameon Pierce. And it feels like a lot of the guys played with pride today, like you said. A lot of the seniors, you have to think you have 4-year seniors, your 5th-year seniors, and also your 6th-year seniors, the COVID guys. Zach Carter was one of them. Rick Wells, Dameon Pierce. Something an interesting fact. Dameon Pierce and Rick Wells lasted. Not Dameon Pierce. Malik Davis and Rick Wells were longer at Florida than Dan Mullen was. Rick Wells graduated in 2016 in high school from Raines High School in Jacksonville. And Malik Davis came to Florida in 2017 when McElwain was his last year. So, pretty easy to say that those guys have been at Florida for a long, long time. And so it was good to see those guys go out on the right foot at the Swamp. Brent Cox jumped 4 times. Yeah, he had 4 sacks, and there was a lot of penalties up front. Not a defensive lineman, as you can see, but I don't know how an offsides happens so many times throughout the course of a game. I know Travis did a good job of changing the snap count, but still, you would think after at least twice that wouldn't be an issue. But I don't know. I'm not going to make an excuse. A lot of coaching change, but still no reason to why there was so many penalties as there was today for really both teams. As I'm trying to see what Knox said in the post-game press. I don't think he's got to the podium yet. So AR needs to start in the bowl game, says 2 type central, and we can move on with Emory at quarterback. Yeah, I agree, and I think that's the pretty consensus, specifically with fans. And I think if you ask Florida fans, they would probably say the same thing. Emory Jones will probably hit the transfer portal. Now no coach has gotten the job yet, but it looks like it will be Napier. It should be announced tomorrow, Monday, and then I think both will sit down and talk with him. But we'll see. I think Emory Jones needs to hit the transfer portal because I don't think he is up to play SEC football, and I think Anthony Richardson is the generational quarterback and needs to play. As to your question about the bowl game, so Florida gets 15 practices. They'll probably get a bowl game, being 6-6, probably like the week before New Year's. I don't even know what bowl that would put them in. The Gator Bowl, any of those bowls that happen in Orlando or in Central Florida. Anthony Richardson should be the quarterback. And what should happen that Dan Mullen didn't do last year in preparing for Oklahoma was play all your young guys and see what you have for next year. As this is something that should have been happening the last couple of weeks after the debacle that happened against South Carolina. When your season was lost, as it was, you didn't have anything to play for. Obviously, the SEC East title was gone, and all you're playing for is just pretty much to become bowl eligible. Mullen, in my opinion, should have rolled with younger guys and see what he had. You saw, granted, there were injuries against South Carolina at the receiver position, but you saw Marcus Burke and what he was able to do. He made a lot of good plays, and I think that was about the only game where he got some serious production. First drive went 50 yards down the field. Burke also came into the Georgia game late. I don't think he had a catch. But guys like him, Austin Barber, who was the guy I played a little bit, both guys from Trinity Christian and Jacksonville. And see what you have for next year. Don't make the game a waste. And just because of what Florida, the expectations it had coming into the year, and almost beating Alabama, and thinking that was the team you had, and then before the wheels fell off. So, I think you need to play a lot of young guys, and reap the benefit of the bowl game if you're Florida and whoever they play and wherever that is. Probably be an ACC team that's 6-6. Let me see the ACC teams that are 6-6 right now, who Florida could potentially be playing. Boston College, Syracuse, if they win, I don't think they will today. North Carolina, that would be an interesting matchup. Florida, North Carolina. Virginia Tech, if they win, and then Virginia also. Those teams are at 6-5, 5-6. Potentially go 6-6. So we'll see how that goes. Bowl games come out next week because that's the time the college football playoff comes out. Sunday next week at noon. As there should be a lot of shakeup for the ranking Sunday. But yeah, I thought Florida played a lot. I thought Florida played a lot better than I thought they were going to today. Again, if you missed the show from the beginning, this is the Gators Final Report at the Voice of College Football. Make sure we check out all the channels at the Voice of College Football, whether it's the Gator channel after they beat Georgia Tech, whether it be Oklahoma, Florida State. They have coverage of the Florida State game on their side, the SEC channel, and so on and so forth. Make sure you check it out. Check out all the content all week. And today specifically with post-game shows. And Mark Rogers obviously always has this post-game show that lasts 2 to 3 hours every Saturday night, starting around 10:30. But this week, or coming in today, Mullen got let go Sunday. I didn't think Florida was going to pull the trigger on in midseason, not because people don't understand that Mullen was the only play caller on offense that called plays for Florida. Not saying what's right or wrong, but I didn't think Florida was going to pull that trigger because, who are you going to go with? Billy Gonzalez? I didn't know who they were going to go with, but, they said he was going to be let go after the FSU game. Mullen said, I'll walk. I don't have any issue with that. Neither did the administration or Mullen. So he leaves a week early. And then it comes out Sunday that Florida was a 10-point favorite against FSU, and I thought Vegas was outside of their mind. Ironically, it was a 10-point game late in the game. And then everything that happened Monday, Emory Jones was supposed to be the starter coming into this week, and then he gets hurt with apparently what was an ankle injury. Now, again, Florida, nobody from Florida staff released it. Nobody said anything about it. It was all from the media and rumors that were speculating that it happened, or they said they heard it. And Anthony Richardson was the expected starter. Then Emory Jones starts. Richardson comes in third play. I think he rolled his ankle. It was a 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. And then he gets hurt, so then he has to go to the sideline. And then Emory Jones plays the rest of the first half, doesn't play well. The last 3 drives in the first half all ended in an interception. The last one was in the end zone, which Whittemore was wide open, and then the DB trailed and made a play once Emory Jones saw that he was open just too little too late. But that'll probably be the bowl game. You still have the bowl game. Emory Jones will probably play the bowl game. I don't know how many opt-outs you would have. Probably, if I had to assume, be Elam and Carter. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that are projected to go high on like last year's team, before they played Oklahoma. So, that's a prime opportunity for a lot of young guys to play. But it was definitely a roller coaster season, all things considered. Florida finishes 6-6. They'll end in a bowl game. Whether it be, it'll be in the state of Florida. Don't know where or who they'll be playing. Probably an ACC team at 6-6. Right along with Florida. But you saw glimpses. You saw what the future can look like with Anthony Richardson. That's a positive. Granted, everybody wishes that he played more, but he should be the guy going forward. I don't have any dispute about that. Emory Jones, his time is probably up at Florida. It's sad to say, but you wait all these years and sit behind 18, 19, 20 behind Kyle Trask and sit behind Felipe Franks. And you wait your turn, you get your turn, and then you don't play. But football is like any business, and it's all about production and what you do on the field. And I don't know if Emory Jones lost his gamesmanship or if he just if he sat so long and thought things too much, when he's reading plays, or if he's a perfectionist, whatever it is, you can't play SEC football like that. If you look at all the counterparts in the SEC, I mean, I don't think JT Daniels would be like that. I know that sets him as the quarterback, but he doesn't play like that. And, even LSU with Max Johnson, Calzada at A&M, Bryce Young, especially at Alabama. You can't play the quarterback position like that in the SEC with the best talent. So Anthony Richardson will be the guy. If he stays, hopefully, Florida faithful. Boy, if Anthony Richardson were to leave Florida, everybody talks about what if with the laptop with Cam Newton. Everybody talks about the what if, had Jeff Driscoll been, developed right at Florida. That doesn't really get talked about as much, though. And then Will Grier, when he tested positive for PEDs, and what that could have been like. Because remember, Florida had just beaten Ole Miss, and when Ole Miss came to the swamp as a top 5 team, and then it happened, and then Will Grier left Florida, never came back. Hopefully, for Florida, Anthony Richardson, that does not happen. I mean, how embarrassing would it be? Someone in your own backyard in Gainesville from Eastside High School to leave not only the state but your own city, your own zip code, and I mean, who's not to say that? I mean, wouldn't you guys think that every single team in college football, probably not named Alabama, would probably go after Anthony Richardson? I mean, think about it. He can start at LSU right away. He can start at FSU right away. He can start at Miami right away. I mean, I don't know if you want to go in the quarterback room with Georgia with Carson Beck, Bob Vandergriff. JT Daniels probably leaves at the end of this year. But, I mean, those are 4 and 5 star guys that have been in the system. That would be embarrassing for Florida if Anthony Richardson leaves Florida and then goes all the way to, a team that Florida would play every year and, running up numbers like Cam Newton did at Auburn or what Will Grier did at West Virginia. As I see you guys are still checking in. We're about 20 minutes in. If you guys missed any of the show, make sure you are subscribing and liking the channel at the SEC and the Florida Gator football channel at the Voice of College Football for Mark Rogers, and all of the other shows and channels on this YouTube channel. As you guys tell me what you thought about today's game. Is it what you expected? I definitely didn't expect Florida to come out with a victory. I thought Florida would. I didn't know where Florida's mind was at. If you go off the last couple of weeks, the wheels fell off after the Florida Georgia game. I heard one person, Matt Hayes, talked about, and he's somebody that's well sourced, national college football writer, and covered Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer when he was both at Florida. He said that after the Florida Georgia game, there was a players meeting and players pushed back against Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen stormed out. I think he said he broke the podium. I don't know if that was, I think that's what he said. And, you think after that, the week after was the South Carolina debacle. And then you get rid of both Hevesy and Todd Grantham. And then the Sanford debacle where you give up 42 points in the first half, 52 total, and then the Missouri game last week. Florida played well against Missouri, but didn't score enough, and then it goes to overtime. Missouri comes out on top. So I thought Florida was going to have that same mindset, but I think the seniors kind of collectively came together because Florida has a very heavy upperclassmen team. Not only fourth-year seniors, but your fifth-year seniors, and then your COVID seniors that have been part of the program for 6 years, like guys like Rick Wells. He's one of your sixth-year seniors. Not Damian Pierce. I keep saying his name. Malik Davis, who's been in the program since 2017, since Jim McElwain's last season. I don't know where Florida's mind was at, but apparently it was in the right mindset. There was a little scuffle before the game. That always usually happens between two in-state rivals where most guys know each other, played against high school ball and Pop Warner ball growing up. And it didn't look pretty early. 7-7. Florida missed a lot of opportunities to start the game. 3 interceptions to end the first half on their final 3 drives. And then, but Florida turned it around, finally getting Anthony Richardson involved, who clearly looks like the better quarterback, and obviously Damian Pierce getting the ball. I love that. The true senior who when his helmet got popped off, showing a lot of fire and a lot of grit, and mind-boggling to me that he didn't get the ball more throughout the year. So as I'm trying to see if Florida's interim coach, Coach Knox, went to the podium and said anything. As Florida wrapped up longest college football game in the history of noon games. I couldn't even get over that. How there were so many penalties, so many reviews. Some of the things that Mark Jackson and Robert Griffin III were saying there on the broadcast was I was glad for it to be over. But 4-hour game concludes. Florida's 6-6 season. They'll finish with a toilet bowl. And then so Florida gets an extra 15 practices, and then they go on to the final month before they head to spring ball in April. Let me get a couple of comments, and then I'll talk about Florida's head coaching, where it looks like it's headed with Napier, which should be expected in the next day or two. Bowl season will be important this year for the new coach to get in practice and get to know his team. Yeah, I don't know if, say it's Napier, I don't know if he will be with the team and coaching with the team. Usually when a coach comes in, they usually keep the same staff, and then they roll, and then they peel off after the bowl game. That's something I thought about earlier, because, this whole staff knows pretty much they're not staying after this year. So, you have to think Napier has to get his whole staff. And while he's doing that, he's also got to go out recruiting because, good Lord, think about how far behind Florida is behind the 8 ball with getting guys in. So we'll see how that goes. But I think it'll probably be the same staff for the bowl game. And then some serious changes will be made. And then head coaching will be made Sunday or Monday. Feel bad for Emory. Yeah, in a way. Obviously everything that's happened to him on the field has been because of him. But, especially in an area like that we live in now, when, guys don't get the opportunity they want, or they, don't get what they want, they just go and bail and hit the transfer portal. And Emory Jones was one of the few guys that stayed. But with that being said, when your name is called and the opportunity is there, you got to capitalize. And Emory Jones, if you look at what's happened from the first game all the way to now, from Labor Day weekend, the first weekend in September all the way to Thanksgiving weekend, he's made the same mistakes. Not making the right reads, thinking too much, throwing to the other team when, he's not dropping it in the bucket on some throws. His running ability was decent this year, but I expected a lot more out of Emory Jones. I expected Anthony Richardson to be what he was, not as not some of the plays that he's made. When hurdling defenders. I obviously didn't expect that, but I expected a lot more out of Emory Jones. But I expect him to hit the transfer portal here soon after the bowl game. I think Emory Jones has taken his last time as a Florida Gator. Yeah, I think after the bowl game, that'll be it for him. As if you guys are just joining us, this is the Gators' final reports. As obviously last week, Dan Mullen was let go Sunday, along with what was the week before, or 2 weeks before. I can't remember which week. No Dan Mullen, no Todd Grantham, no John Hevesy for this game. And so it looks like that the go-ahead runner is going to be Napier. There was a lot of names being thrown around, discussed. Bob Stoops was the favorite that was thrown around. I don't see him coming out of the TV job soon. Dave Aranda from Baylor. He looks like he's going to get a fat contract from Baylor. James Franklin was a name thrown around. I don't see, well, obviously it's now James Franklin. I didn't see James Franklin fitting at Florida. And also James Franklin's about to get a fat contract at Penn State. Mel Tucker, same situation. $95 million, 10 years. And all those buyouts are huge. So then the couple of names that are left were Lane Kiffin, Napier, and there's another name I can't remember. But I thought it was going to be those two guys. And I didn't think it was going to be Lane Kiffin because he doesn't – not that he doesn't fit Florida's culture, but I don't think Scott Strickland would take a chance at him. When I say take a chance, I mean I didn't think – this is what's happened with Florida, with their last two head coaches and what they want from their next coach. And then, again, this is all from Matt Hayes, writer for Saturday Down South. I interned for him at 1010XL in Jacksonville at the radio station, which is the flagship station for the Gators. Florida doesn't want weird. Florida wants someone that is that is not quirky, is not awkward like Mullen or like McElwain. Someone that you can see and you can have a conversation with. Someone that is going to show up to basketball games and baseball games and softball games and not have any issues when it comes to off the field. McElwain with the death threats. That was weird. Mullen, how many times did he go in front of a podium when his personality wasn't good in front of a podium with a camera in front of him, and he would try to make that his personality, like you saw after Missouri's game last year when he came out with Darth Vader. That's not Dan Mullen. So in this next head coach, that's what they want. And then two, Florida wants stability. That's obvious. And then obviously you want someone that's going to hit the recruiting trail. And you see this in any business. When any business is poor at one thing and that whole staff leaves and you get another staff to come in and take over a business or a program, whatever that business did not do well, you want to fix that immediately. And right now that's recruiting. And Napier has had ties to Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney. And at Louisiana, I think I saw the stat said the last 20 years, Louisiana averaged like three to four wins a year. And right now he has them at 10-1. I also heard that Napier's turned down jobs similar to Florida. I think Auburn wanted him. He turned down that job. I think LSU has wanted him. I could be wrong on the LSU part. LSU wanted him possibly. I think he turned down that job, meaning he was waiting for the right fit for him to take over. Hugh Freeze was the other name. Thank you, Johnson. Napier's the guy. He doesn't seem like he's awkward. He looks like he's very involved with everything that's happened around the football program. So that's where it looks like Florida's going to go, and I'll be interested to see the staff he hires, because whoever is going to be your O-line coach, he has to be an elite recruiter, because he has to make up for everything that John Hevesy didn't do in the previous 3 years. I saw something in the 18 and 19 class. Florida only got 2 D tackles in each class. That's pitiful. Right now, and the top 50 recruits in the state of Florida, Florida has 4 of them. That's inexcusable. That's not something that should be happening at the University of Florida. And it's not hard if you get the right guy to come in. And I'm not expecting instant success with Napier. This roster does not have guys that can go blow for blow with Georgia, with A&M, with Alabama. And, as I pull up Florida's 2022 schedule, I think Florida plays A&M, if I'm not mistaken. They open the season at Utah at home. Yeah, and Florida plays. So this is Florida's schedule next year. It's Utah, Kentucky, USF, all 3 at home, at Tennessee, and then Eastern Washington, Missouri, LSU, all at home, except for the Tennessee game. So the first half of your season before the Georgia game, Florida plays at home. You play your cocktail party at Jacksonville, and then you play at A&M, South Carolina, at Vandy, at Florida State. Florida in no way, shape, or form has the roster to compete with A&M, to compete with Georgia. And maybe I would even make it a stretch LSU. If LSU can get their guy, a decent head coach, LSU's roster right now is better than Florida, in my opinion. So that has to be your emphasis when Napier comes, I believe, to Florida. And also another thing with the coaching changes, there was as I see Palmer drops Keith Savage, there were a lot of players that were very outspoken that went to Twitter. I guess this was Sunday or Monday, and they wanted to keep Coach Savage. So we'll see if they keep him. He's one of the better guys in the business at strength and conditioning. Players want him there. I don't know how much of an influence that Scott Strickland will have. If he listens to his football players, but I did see that. And also with Napier, no one knows what Napier's going to be like. Florida thought Will Muschamp was going to be a decent hire because he was the guy in waiting at Texas. And then obviously, that it didn't happen. And the offense was pitiful. So Florida goes out and they get McElwain. McElwain takes Florida to SEC championships, but he came to fix the offense, and the offense never got fixed. So you get Mullen. Mullen is supposed to come and fix the offense. Offense got fixed, but the defense fell behind miserably. So, whenever you go through hires and, the previous regime all leaves, and if they do something really poor, usually that's something that's what you usually value in the next in your next staff. So your next staff is probably going to prioritize recruiting and getting a good defensive coach because, the offense has been good. So we'll see how it is. I'm not going to make opinions. Again, I'm not expecting instant success with anything that happens out of Napier. He's going to have to lay the foundation brick by brick because I think that this locker room has been lost since the end of last year after Florida lost to LSU with 50-something scholarship players, the Alabama game where you almost beat them, couldn't get off the field, and then obviously the Oklahoma game, and then everything that's happened pretty much after the Georgia game. It's been all over the place. Big win for us in the program, even though we have had a terrible season. And by our recruiting, this may help us for Florida for the next coach. I'm not going to buy into a lot of it. Yes, it is big in a sense that you beat your in-state rival because had Florida State beat Florida, I think Florida State they could use that as a recruiting pitch, knowing that where Florida is and Florida State is, Florida State's just now building their foundation, and Florida, people have them up here, and so I think that was good in that sense. But I'm not going to buy too much into it. It was good to see the grit that the guys came out with, because the last 3 weeks they didn't. How Florida played today, they didn't play with this energy the last 3 weeks against South Carolina, Missouri, and Sanford. Roland Hicks drops another comment. Thanks for dropping all the comments. He says 1,000% you have to take the next step by recruiting the home state. Kiffin will get the assistants to do that. It may take Napier a few years, maybe. Yeah, if it were up to me, I would have got Lane Kiffin. I would have backed to the Brinks truck and done whatever I could to get Lane Kiffin. His offensive mind, he's matured a lot. And when you're an offensive genius like Lane Kiffin is, there's a lot of times where those coaches, they'll be buried in their playbook on what they have and all these concepts, but they won't have it went first and 10, you have 3 yards. Okay, what's the second down play? Man, that comes with maturity. He got too many big jobs for his age. Excuse me. He got that Tennessee job a long time ago. Before then, he got the Raiders job, and then he left Tennessee to go to USC when USC wasn't. When USC was under recruiting violations from Reggie Bush in that era. So, and obviously everybody knows about his offense, but look at what Ole Miss has done with their defense. It wasn't as bad, but it was pretty on par with Florida's last year, and he and that defensive staff have completely flipped it around. Needless to say, I thought I would have done whatever to get Lane Kiffin, but I don't think Scott Strickland would touch the baggage that comes with Lane Kiffin, and that's just my hunch. But I definitely would have, and it would be really, really cool. Probably something that Florida fans haven't seen since Spurrier, with that kind of offense that Lane Kiffin runs. And I agree, he would crush recruiting in the state of Florida. The SOC team Hammerhead. Napier has too many parallels to McElwain. I think he's a second tier hire for a first year school. We'll see. I'm not going to make an opinion. We thought Mullen was going to be the guy for a long time, and obviously that completely flipped. Napier's been a guy that is very level-headed. He coached big time football, been around dudes that have coached big time football. And he's waited for the right job for him. He's been offered a lot of other big time jobs. I know Auburn being one of them. And, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to make an opinion and say he's awful. Florida shouldn't have gotten him, or I'm not saying it's going to be it's a grand slam. It's a home run out of the park. He's definitely going to have to do a lot of work, and we'll see how good of a recruiter he is, because, you have about 3 weeks before signing day happens, and there's a ton of talent in the state around Gainesville. IMG, Jacksonville, Tampa. Pluck some guys away from Miami if you can, and see what you can do, because that's where it starts. If you want to start winning games, you got to have the right players. You got to start having 4 or 5 stars come through your program. And that's something that Florida lacked in their previous regime. Hammerhead also says the Florida administration needs to grow a set and hire Hugh Freeze. Yeah, I think so. Again, this goes back to the same with Lane Kiffin. I don't have a problem with it, but I don't think Scott Strickland and some of the boosters would care to have him on staff. Florida wants normal. Florida wants, they don't want any baggage with anybody. They want a clean slate. They're tired of weird people that don't know how to talk to the media with like McElwain and like Mullen. And Napier seems like he's going to be that guy. So that looks like that's the route that Florida's chosen. Napier looks like the runaway go-ahead favorite to take the job, which should be Sunday or Monday, and we shall see. If you guys are just joining us, this is the Gators Final Report. I am your host, Dylan Denmark. Let me pull this up right here. You can follow me on Twitter at Dylan_Denmark. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to the channel and drop any comments that happened from the Florida Gator game today when Florida beat Florida State 24-21. Florida, depending when you got the number, barely covered the spread. It went down to 2.5. I saw it today at 3.5. Florida wins by 3. Those guys at Vegas always know something. And I had FSU plus 2.5. I didn't think Florida was going to show up to play at all. I thought Florida was going to show the same energy they had in the last 3 weeks. Obviously, I was wrong. But we're going to have a lot of change coming soon. I didn't know who was going to be calling plays because Dan Mullen was the only play caller. The offense seemed like it was well after Emory Jones had his 3 interceptions, and then Anthony Richardson came in. Damian Pierce got the ball a hell of a lot more, which has been lacking all season long. There was one game, I think, this year we had more than 8 carries, and I don't put a whole lot of stock into it, but I put a little bit in stock. Pro Football Focus rates every college football running back, and Damian Pierce was the highest rated running back in college football. Think about that. What was considered the highest rated college football running back didn't even have 10 plus carries in the game all year. I think maybe once. I don't even know how many he had today, but Pierce finished with 12 carries, 62 yards on touchdown. There you go. So, and that was good to see him leave on a high note. Especially, I think he was pretty much a waste of talent this year. Somebody that should have played a lot more that the coaching staff didn't use. And that'll be a guy like you've seen from a lot of Florida players in the last decade go to the NFL and absolutely ball out and then play to their fullest potential at Florida. That's where I think Pierce's future is going to be. This is pretty good. Hugh Freeze is born again. Yeah, that's what happens when you go to a Christian school at Liberty. ACC, yeah, they're having a huge down year. Wake Forest having a big year. Lawson, I think Dave Lawson, I believe is the coach's name. That was another coach that was in consideration. But he's also signing another fat contract, like along with Mel Tucker, James Franklin, and it looks like Dave Aranda at Baylor. Yeah, I'm gonna go another couple minutes. Any comments and questions you have when it pertains to the Florida season, or you think going forward with the head coaching job, or from the game today in the bowl game, whatever, go ahead and drop it and I'll get to it. This is the Gators Final Report at the Voice of College Football. Make sure we're liking and subscribing to all of the channels. And thank you guys for watching all year long. It's been a blast coming on here after every game. Hasn't been the season that Florida expected it was going to have. Because, boy, we got a lot of views after some of those games. We had like 5,000 views after the South Carolina game. The Alabama game, we had a lot. And thank you guys for the support on this channel. You think he would have played better? Talking about Emory Jones. Yeah, I thought Emory Jones was going to have I thought he was going to have a really, really good year. If you go back to what Mullen said at media days, Dan Mullen, he said Emory Jones had a rocket arm. Emory Jones never, in my opinion, showed that rocket arm, at least consistently. It was, like one 50-yard play against South Carolina. I'm trying to think of when he threw the ball more than 20 yards at any point this season. My mind's drawing a blank. The Alabama game, he didn't really throw the ball deep. When he did, it was to Copeland. There was pass interference calls. Obviously, it didn't happen. Sanford game, I'm not going to take that in consideration. He didn't play the Georgia game. And there was glimpses that you saw a couple of weeks, in his first 3 years when he wasn't starting, but you were like, there's a lot of potential here. Um, and it just never happened. What surprises me the most is that when Emory Jones, when he came in against Auburn in 2019, and if you remember, Auburn before LSU got hot in November in 2019, before they won the national title, Auburn had the best defense in the country, not just the SEC. Auburn had a lethal defensive front with Derek Brown and Davidson, and they had nice corners on the outside. They weren't the best, but they were the fastest probably corners in 2019. And if you remember in that second quarter, I think it was, Kyle Trask gets hurt. What looks like he looked like his knee was done. And Emory Jones comes in, goes down the field, kicks a crucial field goal. But Florida's offense, it didn't seem like there was much of a drop after Kyle Trask went out. And that's what I expected from Emory Jones, obviously, to a higher step. And it just never happened. I don't know if everything was just he overthinks everything. I don't know if he's lost his gamesmanship. But hey, he thinks way too much when he's in the pocket. Reading coverages, thinking too much, holding the ball for too long. He was able to use his legs a lot. Something that Dan Mullen said at the beginning of the year that Florida never did was use two backs in the backfield. I was really excited to see what that was going to be like. I think Mullen only did it like a few times in the first 3 games and like never touched it. I don't know if it just never executed in practice like it did in camp, which wouldn't make sense. But yeah, I agree. I thought Emory Jones was going to have a really, really good season for Florida this year. As we're about to wrap this up at the Voice of College Football, the Gators final report. If you guys miss any of the show, make sure you are you can archive it at the SEC or the Florida Gator channel. You guys can follow me on Twitter here at Dylan_Denmark. As if you guys have any comments, any last questions, I'll get to them. And then before I get out of here, it's 5 o'clock. But Florida will go to a bowl game. 6-6 will probably play an ACC team at 6-6 and somewhere in the state of Florida, the Gator Bowl, or I don't know what bowl or what anything's near the near Central Florida, around Orlando and Tampa. But Florida ends the season on a high note. The seniors came out with a lot of grit, a lot of the intensity was a lot better today. The energy as well. So that was always good to see, especially what happened the last 3 weeks. What bowl do I think Florida will be playing in? Well, let's see here. I'm gonna use the World Wide Web and look at what Florida is projected to go to. If I had to guess without looking, I would say the Gator Bowl. Okay, so Brent McMurphy has Florida. Okay, it's Florida State. One says the Gasparilla Bowl with Florida playing Tulsa. That's one. That's Brent McMurphy with the Action Network. Trying to see. So that's one. The Birmingham Bowl. Oh, this will be a good one. The Birmingham Bowl projected Florida to play UCF. That game would be December 28th. The Mayo Bowl against Virginia, a rematch from the Orange Bowl a couple years ago. The Gasparilla Bowl against Miami. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and Florida played Texas Tech. So those are a few. Again, those are all the teams right around 6-6. I would like for Florida to play a big name brand. The last team I would want Florida to play would be Tulsa. North Carolina possibly. Miami, that would be really cool. You'd have a true state champion. Although I don't, even though Florida State and Miami played pitiful football all year long. I think they're too good for an Outback Bowl. But it'd probably be one of those bowl games that Florida will go to. And so that'll do it. The Gators final report. I'm your host, Dylan Denmark. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe and like the channel. You guys have a great weekend. Florida comes out on top and is bowl eligible 24-21 over FSU. Florida only ends the season with one home loss. Every other loss pretty much was away from home. Wasn't the season that Florida expected, but it is what it is. Dan Mullen's let go. Napier should be getting the job. He's a runaway favorite. Should be announced either tomorrow or Monday. And then from there, you're going to be hitting the recruiting trail and getting as many guys as you can because signing days in 3 weeks. And you got a lot of catching up to do. Not a lot of guys on this team that can go toe-to-toe with the Georges and the A&Ms, teams you're going to be playing next year. And getting ready for spring ball and then Utah, week 1 next season. So that's it for me. For me, Dylan Denmark at the Gators Final Report. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you after the bowl game.